Do you know that story about the young bull and the old bull and the cows at the bottom of the field? And the young bull says to the old bull, I will run down and we'll bang one of those cows. And the old bull turns to the young bull and says, no, let's walk down and bang them all. Well, that analogy is perfect for guys in their 40s and older when it comes to training. You see, I see so many guys my age and older desperate to get into shape. And they're so desperate to get into shape that their judgment's clouded and their vision of what they should be doing is completely distorted because they're desperate to get out of where they're at and they want to get out of there as fast as possible. So when they see adverts for gyms that promise you a 6-week transformation or a 12-week transformation, they get sucked into it. Even though as adults, even though as fully grown men, they know deep down that it's probably not going to work. That emotional desire to get themselves out of where they're currently at overrides their logical thinking, and they go into the emotional realms and they buy. They commit to a training session and they might lose a couple of pounds and they might put on a bit of muscle, but invariably the training's too hard, it's too intense, the dads are too strict, too repressive, and they end up falling back to where they started and getting back in that cycle over and over again. And the thing is, there's an easier way and a better way of doing things. And I know this for a fact because I've been showing men how to do it for nearly 15 years. When it comes to exercise, we are like magpies. We are enticed by the shiny, bright new objects. Look at me, look at my training system's the best. My equipment's the best. Look at my new gym, I've just done it up. And we're all suckers for this calling of something new, something exciting. And what we're forgetting and what we're losing track of is the body you're after, it's built in the boring. It's built in the repetitive nature of doing the same exercises over and over again, but only changing small variables. Maybe it's adding a rep, maybe it's adding a kilo, maybe it's changing the tempo or the intensity or the density, but the exercise remains the same. In the Weathered Warriors, when we do 4-week blocks, we don't change weights for the 4 weeks. We use the same weight for a 4-week block. And the reason I do that with all the members is because 1, they don't need any more, and 2, I am allowing them to completely use up that weight to its full capacity. Why add more weight on when they don't need to? We'll just add more reps, we'll just change the tempo, we'll just change the density or the intensity of the movements. And these small factors add up over time to a massive change. If all of you guys could understand that when you get to our age, the last thing you need is that high intensity work over and over again. We need it, absolutely. But to get in shape is so much more simple than you believe, because you've been conditioned to believe that you need something new, you need to be changing everything up all the time. I'm living proof that's not true. All my members are living proof that's not true. And the thing is, because I train to a certain specific standard, there's less chance of injury. Because we're not always chasing numbers with weights, and because we're letting the body acclimatise to a certain weight and we just exhaust its potential, we reduce the risk of injury. And because the way I program the Weathered Warriors, we get the movements we all want, but I also factor in the movements we need to improve our lives, the things that men wouldn't do on a normal basis. Do you know, the mobility stuff, the stretch and stuff. But I have figured out a way to make that type of work not only enjoyable and beneficial, but feel like it's actual work. And I do this in the Royal Court workouts that I have. My aim for my training for men is to make their everyday life easier. The training we do in the gym should have a direct crossover to the experiences you have in life. That's why I got rid of most of the racks. I've got 2 racks for guys who may be injured or just maybe want to do a bit of barbell stuff. But the majority of my stuff, 90% of the training we do in Weathered Warriors now is bodyweight, gymnastic rings, kettlebells, Bulgarian bags, mace bells, sandbags, dumbbells. And the reason I do this is because it's more applicable to real life. Tell me a time you've ever lifted a perfectly symmetrical weight off the floor, or get under a perfectly loaded bar, squat down, squat up, and then rack it into the rack again. It doesn't happen in life like that. Usually what happens in a squat in life, it'll be on the floor and you've got to squat down, and you've got to pick it up, and then you've got to move it somewhere and then set it back down. So we replicate that in the Weathered Warriors. We lift things from the floor, awkward objects like sandbags, or we'll do a two-hand anyhow, where we'll maybe get a sandbag on the shoulder, squat down, lift a sandbag from the floor and do the squats like that. Different ways of training, ways that are more applicable to real life, ways that are going to have an impact on the average guy who's 40 and older's life on a daily basis. We don't have a timetable as to when you're getting in shape. We don't have strict diets, because strict diets don't work. Tell me the last time you know a guy our age succeeded with strict diets and kept it going in a regimented way for a prolonged period of time. It doesn't happen. Yes, if you've got a goal to get a six-pack, you may be able to find the discipline and the consistency to actually do something about it. But you know, once you've got that goal in the bag, you'll probably fall back. It happens to every guy that ever trained. What guys our age are looking is so much more simple than what the fitness industry advertises. As I coined it, build a bit, lose a bit, get a bit, build more muscle, lose more fat, get more sex. Because that's all we need. We're in our 40s and 50s, we're all married. We all just want to have a happy life. And that brings me to, look at the training today. Look at the way the young trainers advertise the latest fitness fads. Like, for example, cars, that end of range movement, which by the way is brilliant, but it's also very time consuming. It's not very sexy, and it's not going to get you in shape. Yes, it will improve your mobility, absolutely, and you'll feel better because of it, but that requires commitment and time, and that requires commitment and time outside of lifting the weights that you're already struggling to find time to do. So for guys our age, it's not realistic to ask them to spend an hour or 40 minutes or 30 minutes articulating their joints at their end range of movement and spinning it around and cramping up those muscles. It's just not going to happen. We're not going to commit to it. But if there's a way of fitting that type of movement into the actual training systems, well then, it's more likely going to be that you're going to commit to it. And that's what we do in Primal. That's what we do in the Weathered Warriors. I design my training for me. Basically what I like to do, what I need, what I want, and I feed off all the other guys in the gym and I ask them, do they like that? What do they need? What do they want? And through this trial and error system, I have come up with a way of giving men just like us exactly what they want and need. So if you're after a training system that actually works for men like us, you need to get signed up to our 6-week kettlebell challenge.